Hello and welcome to another episode of the CGI podcast with Curtis and Gaia. It is Curtis and Gaia Goes Insane is what CGI stands for. And this is a podcast where we talk about artists that are going to be on the upcoming C-Squared Underground Music compilation that is coming out in September via C-Squared Music. We have today the frontman of Lycanthro, Baby James Delbridge, here with us to speak about his song, Mark of the Wolf. And he is going to also be asked embarrassing questions, and we're going to get a lot of knowledge bombs from him at the same time. Should be quite informative. And over to go.
Hi. Hi, James. Really happy to have you today. I have a lot of questions for you, of course. So I wanted to start by asking you if you could kind of like tell the story of the band, like how the band was formed, and like how long it's been going, like what kind of albums did you release before your current album, like the last one you released, and just tell me the story about your band.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And yes, the pain has been going on for years. But no, so we started technically in 2016. We started from the ashes of my old band that was called Death Wish. And yeah, my old band Death Wish was like a high school band, and we were just a bunch of kids, doing like just happy being a band and all that. But then, typical kind of high school band, you all end up breaking up and hating each other after a while. But what happened with Lycanthro was we took, when I formed the lineup that would eventually become Lycanthro, we still had the name Death Wish for the first few months of the band. But then one day I went into a record store near where I live, and I was in the metal section, and I found an album by a British band that was also called Death Wish, and I'm like, well, shit, I found this at a local record store, we should change our name. So so in terms of that, we did, I wanted to have something to do with wolves and werewolves because I've always had a big affinity for wolves. And this was something that was a bit of a tall order at the time, but I wanted a name that no other band in the world had. And, with how oversaturated the music industry is now, that is a pretty tough thing. But we did extensive research, and we found that Lycanthro, no other band in the world has it. You go Metal Archives, only band that pops up. Google, only band that pops up. The closest I found was there was a punk band called Wolfpack, who they released an album called Lycanthro-Punk, which was supposed to be like a play on words for lycanthropy. But yeah, so that's kind of how we started. And in terms of the albums before this one, we released when we first started, we released a really terrible demo, which you can't hear anymore. And then in 2017, we released, 2018, it was 2018. We released the Forest of the Apocalypse EP. And yeah, now we have Mark of the Wolf out.
That's awesome. Which one of the album was the one with the cassette?
That's one of our, that's not technically an album of ours, that's a tribute album. It's you can see it right here. It's nice. Wild Privateers, the underground tribute to Running Wild. Running Wild is our buddy Zoltan, he's a guy from Hungary who he runs like a really small label over there, and he, big old school power metal fan, and I got in touch with him because he did two of these previously. He did one for Halloween and one for Gamma Ray, and we were supposed to be on the one for Gamma Ray, but that didn't end up happening, so we were on the one for, and I actually like Running Wild more anyways. And yeah, we did that, and we just did a cover of their song Port Royal, which was a lot of fun, and it's really cool to have us at least something we've done on cassette form. So yeah.
Yeah, I was asking because my dad got the cassette.
Oh, wait, I mean, he got this one, you mean?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I was like, you need to do cassette too. I was like, well, I don't know.
I'm actually in the process right now of trying to get, because our label that we're on doesn't do cassettes. I'm in the process of trying to find a label to do a deal to do a limited cassette run of Mark of the Wolf at the moment, actually. So
That's awesome. Are you guys planning on having vinyl eventually, or just like the CD?
Yes. What we want, the thing is, we've been asked to do vinyl so often. Like, we've actually had people who have commented on our stuff and messaged us saying that they're not gonna buy the CD. They're just gonna wait till the vinyl comes out because people are so. I see Curtis is waving at
I
us.
want to make a quick comment just on the vinyl thing. Make sure you survey it before you actually order, because lots of people will tell you they're not going to buy unless it's on vinyl, and then you're going to order. Then if you order like 250 vinyl, those same people are suddenly magically broke. I've had it happen.
Oh, trust me, man. I know.
I've heard it so many times from bands. We got all this questions when are we doing vinyl, and then every fucking person that said it didn't buy.
Oh yeah, no, it's true. But thankfully we won't have any money lost if we do get one, because label. But
yeah. Oh, good point.
Yeah,
good point.
We're definitely gonna. I'm trying to push him to do a vinyl for us, because the sales of the CDs has been going really well. So I said, hey, this could be a logical next step. And he says he has to think about it because at the moment the vinyl industry is on a standstill. Like, all the plants, because of COVID, were all closed and all that, or not closed, but like working at like maybe 5% output that they were. And so I'm hoping that we can maybe like do another deal with him to put out a vinyl at like maybe hopefully by the end of the year. So yeah, like we're gonna be pushing for a vinyl for sure.
Cool.
That's awesome. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the song. So can you tell me like what's the story behind Mark of the Wolf?
All right, so pretty much Mark of the Wolf is obviously it's the title track of our album Mark of the Wolf. And what the song is about is it's because I am a gigantic nerd. So a few of our songs are based on the video game Skyrim. And this one is based off of one of the storylines in Skyrim where you play as a guy who he's a part of the this mercenary group or group of knights or whatever that they're called the Companions. And throughout the storyline, you find out that a few of the members of the Companions can turn into werewolves, and they go out and they hunt these group of bandits or hunters called the Silverhand who go and hunt werewolves. So that's pretty much what it's about, just because I'm a gigantic nerd like that.
And like in your aesthetic, like you seem to really love wolves, of course. But how do you think that's translate with being like a power metal band?
Well, I think the thing is, I find that a lot of power metal bands or melodic metal bands nowadays, like not necessarily power metal, but I've even seen this with like symphonic metal bands, even some black metal bands, is that it's very thematic. That's one thing I find a lot of people like nowadays is when a band has a certain, like, people have always been, image has always been very important. But I find that nowadays we're at a point in heavy metal where I find that it's almost like like what Iron Maiden did back in the day, like having the mascot or the kind of sort of theme with all the albums and all the artwork and everything. Like, as you guys probably know, Iron Maiden, they're always had, warplanes flying everywhere, and you had Eddie there, and you have like all this like religion kind of imagery in there as well, because that's just how they were. And I find that more bands nowadays are adopting that. And a lot of bands, us included, are taking a lot from like classic horror, classic literature. Like, one of the things I didn't bring up earlier about the name Lycanthro is that I thought it'd be cool to do the werewolf thing, because there's so many bands I follow who do the vampire thing, like like Seven Spires, bands like that, who they just dress up like the romantic Victorian vampire, or Laura does it too as well, like the romantic Victorian vampire aesthetic, which is cool. So I thought, why not do that but the opposite? Like, why not go in the cheesy 80s metal werewolf movie direction with our imagery,
That's awesome. Yeah, I have another question for you. Because like we both met at a show, and I feel like you're like the king of meeting people at shows. Because like my guitarist, like he actually told me about you before we met, because we were like talking about like how we needed to go like to more local show and like try like to talk to more people and like get more friends. And he was saying like there's one dude that I met at one show, I don't even remember which one it was. Like his name is James, he's from Ottawa, and like he's really nice, and like he's a very outgoing, and he speaks with everybody. And then I went to play with Astrid Incarnate, and I met you there too. I was like, that is very funny. And
Yeah.
my question is for you, because you had kind of like to switch with being more on social media with the whole COVID thing. And how do you feel like the reception is? Is it easier for you to go in shows and like talking to people, or is it easier for you to do like social media?
Mm. Well, first of all, it was yeah, I do remember that story about your guitar player Dave, because it was funny. I actually met him. It was funny. I met him at the show that you guys played in Ottawa with Malakota. And it's
Oh
weird.
wow.
Yeah, I saw you before I even met you, because I don't know why, because I went because I already knew Lucas. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to see him, and then I happened to be your Dave actually heard me talking about Rhapsody. He goes, "Oh, I love Rhapsody," and then that's kind of how that happened. But um, truth be told, I still think I'm way better in person. I think with in terms of meeting people at shows and all that, and talking to everybody, just because like there's the cliche of like the musician who's like, oh, I'm an introvert, I don't like talking to people, but like I'm the opposite. I love talking to everybody at shows and all that. But it was really tough at first to have to adapt to what we're doing at the moment, to do like kind of be more online and more on social media, because before we were such a live band that's how we got most of our fan base, and most of our people who knew us was from playing live all the time. We did use social media, but not as much as we do now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, I never used to meticulously plan out things on social media like I do now. It literally used to just be like, okay, we have this show, I'm going to post about it, and so whoever, because I never used to run the Instagram page. I used to be like, okay, our old guitar player Dave, you post about this on the Instagram page, I'll post about this on the Facebook page, and then just don't worry about it, because we would always just try and focus on like the in-person aspect. But it was really tough having to adapt to
Mm-hmm.
doing that. But ever since I started doing that and started running all the social media pages on my own, it's been really fun, and it's been really great to be able to meet so many people who I either didn't know I was going to meet, or I never would have thought I would meet, period. Like, obviously I met through you, I met Curtis and Corey, and even through doing my live stream thing on Instagram, I've gotten to talk with like some of my heroes who I never thought I would even be able to like, even before I'd be like, oh, they wouldn't even like look at me, you know what I mean? But now it's been great.
And do you think you've been making more sales since you've been on social media, or was like more when you were like playing shows?
Oh, online, easy, because we never used to sell stuff online at all. Because, and to be honest, it was just out of laziness. Because we're like, we play enough shows, people will buy our merch there. We never used to play online. We never used to sell online very much. But again, because of COVID, I had to adapt and be like, okay, I need to, for this album, we have to do a pre-order campaign. We have to do this and that and all that. I was pretty much learning, honestly, from you and all the other people around me who I saw doing it, like you, like Lindsay, like few other bands I know who was doing it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take everything I've learned from these people and put it into our thing. And we've sold more albums in like a month than we had playing shows. Because I remember whenever we played shows, we maybe sell maybe like 5 CDs, maybe 6. and that was in like us playing 1 or 2 shows a month, you know. We sold we're now over half of our stock sold just from online, and it's been great. So I think online we've been getting a lot more sales easy.
Curtis, I feel like you probably have a question.
I do, actually. So this is an off-topic question, but I have to ask, are you going to be doing a theme album based on the movie Teen Wolf at any time soon?
Oh, please do. Please.
It's funny you say that because a buddy of mine asked the exact same thing, but not about Teen Wolf. No, it wasn't about Teen Wolf. He was like, "Hey man, you got to do an album based on Big Wolf on Campus." Do you guys remember that at all?
Oh my god, yes! Yeah. I fucking love that show.
No, my buddy, that's like one of his favorite shows. And one thing he was actually telling us, he's like, "Dude, you guys should do, like, just for fun, do like a really silly cover of the Big Wolf on Campus theme."
Yes, please. So, I love that show so much. I used to watch it in French. I saw it in English and it was so much better.
So James, what are we gonna do to get you to do a Teen Wolf themed album?
Get us to 5,000 follows on Instagram, people. Do it.
What are you at right now? Okay, so if you get 5,000 follows on Instagram, you promise, you've just said, you will do a Teen Wolf themed album.
Yes.
So hold on. So let me just see how many you got. So you need another, okay, at 1466. So noted right now, if James's band Lycanthro gets up to 5,000 followers, he's going to write a Teen Wolf themed album, power metal, and maybe get Michael J. Fox as a guest appearance.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, so how are you mainly selling your albums online?
Mainly just through we're selling it through Big Cartel. Obviously.
But where are you getting the sales from? Is it from streams or like?
I find it's been from. It's funny you ask that because like when I look at the people who buy our album, it's always from places I don't expect. Like more than half of our sales are from like really weird ass places where I didn't even know people knew us. Like we've had a few orders like from France, like more than I would have expeced. Like places in Europe, like the UK and Sweden, stuff like that. I think it's mainly just been through like just the typical stuff, you know, ads, even though our ad game could be better. But the other thing I found too is also, again, I'm sure Gaia is gonna ask me about this later, but a lot of it's been from the live streams actually, because I've done so many of them now that we've actually gained fans through those who they're like, hey, there's this dude from Canada and he's interviewing, well, not interviewing, just, you know, talk show. He's talking with one of my favorite vocalists or whatever. I should check him out too. And a lot of our orders have come from that. Like, I remember there was one guy who, if you're watching this, sup, Eric, there's this guy from Eric, and his name's Eric, and he actually lives near Corey, believe it or not. He lives like maybe like an hour or two from her.
Nice.
And he told me that he found us because I did that live stream with Adrian from Seven Spires, and Seven Spires is like one of his favorite bands. And he found us through that, and then proceeded to order everything off our website, like literally everything. Awesome. Yeah, like literally everything. When I shipped his thing, like the package was almost like exploding pretty much.
And then I got a final question before I shoot it back over to Guy. I'm sure I'll have something else later. Hopefully you weren't planning on asking this, Guy. I really fucking hope not. Bundles. So what got you to start doing bundles? I know it did, but I'm...
Gaia did.
You didn't have the bundle. Okay, I got to tell you one thing. I got to confess. I was mad at you because you didn't have the bundles when I got the CD initially. Gaia shows me her shirt that she got, and I'm like, how'd you get that? And she's like, it was a bundle. And I was like, bundle? There's no bundle. She's like, yeah, James has bundles. And I was like, tell us the bundle story, James.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was literally because Gaia messaged me one day saying, literally not even a hello, just why don't you have bundles? And I'm like, hi. And then, no, but when she said that, I'm just like, because this is the thing I was saying to you about like how I'm kind of learning on the job right now, because my mindset was still so like in person and live focused that I'm kind of learning as I go. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize that was something that people bought a lot. And then when she told me to, I made some, and then we've actually sold most of our stuff with the bundles. So
you know what? The reason why I asked you with it, it's because I made the same mistake with Ariel. When we did the release, I did not think about doing bundles. And then like we sold most of our albums, and I was like, we could have made way more money if we had bundles. And it just never clicked. So I was like, I am not making that mistake again, and I don't want my friends to make that mistake again. So that was why I was like so rude to you.
Oh no, it's cool. No, and you definitely lit a fire under my ass, because it worked very well. So yeah.
Oh, so one last part about the bundles before Guy continues. I just want to know, so what bundles do you have now? Can you kind of explain what bundles you decided to have?
Yeah, well, I did two. So the first one is the first one's just called the Wolfpack bundle, which is just the CD and the shirt, whatever shirt you want of the three that we have, the three designs that we have.
Yeah.
And then the other one, and this is the one that sold the most actually, is I find that everyone likes the everything bundles. So I did one that was called the Wolfpack Elite bundle, which was whatever shirt, both the CDs, because we still have a lot of the Four Horsemen CDs. I felt this was a good way to unload them.
Yep.
So it's like the shirt, both CDs, and the beer koozie. Because again, a lot of the merch we have is just stuff that a lot of the merch we have was stuff that I ordered for the tour back in 2019 when we were supposed to go on tour in 2020. And then pandemic, now I have all this merch here. I literally have a whole box of CDs I ordered from our label for this tour, and it's just sitting here for like a year. So I found this is a good way to unload all that. So yeah.
Cool. I'm done for now, Guy.
Shit. Okay, so James, you've been doing this for kind of, I know you're very young, but you've been doing it for like a few years. If you have like advice to people that are like starting to get into like social media and like trying like to get their band out of their comfort zone with like going to shows and like being online, what would be your advice?
All right, I have a lot I could say on this, but the main thing I'll say, and this is something that it might sound very blunt when I say this, but it's something that I feel people need to hear, is swallow your pride. Because there are so many bands, even ones I know personally, who refuse to do certain things on use social media. Like a lot of bands will have a page, like a Facebook page, Instagram page, whatever, but they'll never post to it. They'll have they won't do anything with it, and usually it's just because they have this really false sense of pride and this false kind of this really misguided idea of how to get noticed as a musician. Because one of the things I still see, and it's really unfortunate, is that you'll have a lot of bands who they'll have the mentality that they had back in the 80s, which was because they'll be like, oh, freaking Van Halen played at the same venue for like 2 years, and then a record label executive happened to be there and noticed them and signed them. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. You know, record label executives don't go to shows, like at least small ones anymore. You know, that's so like so I see all these bands have this mentality of like they think they're like they get this false sense of arrogance, and they'll post their album on Bandcamp. Maybe one person will buy it and no one will. And then they'll wonder, oh, no, what the hell? No one's noticing us, you know? It's because you're not promoting yourself. And then when someone, I was talking with my old vocal coach, Mary from Helium Prime, about this actually on the stream I did with her, is that she said the same thing of like, a lot of these bands, you have to like, even when you give them the tools on how to succeed and how to do well, they still won't do it because it's not it's not their perception of what being a musician is. You know what I mean? So if you tell them, oh, do this on social media, try different things, all this stuff, they'll be like, no. So, which it's unfortunate, and that's why a lot of those bands don't really seem to get anywhere. So the main advice I'd give to younger bands who are wanting to like get better at social media is just swallow your pride. Do listen to what your elders tell you, because they tell you for a reason, because it works. They're not gonna, a lot of people, there are lots of scumbags in the music industry, but most people are there to help you, and most people won't give you bad advice. So if someone tells you, hey, you'll get more viewers on your Instagram if you do this, try it. If it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. That's cool, but at least try it. So yep. That's what I'd say.
That's good advice.
To add to that, as Gaia knows, because Gaia has been an instructor in 2 challenges so far that I've run, a lot of people will also listen and then just not implement, which is a key thing that can be a problem as well. Anyways, Gaia, you can continue.
I want to add a little bit to that, because one of the issue that I see with a lot of fans is like, it's what you said, James, like they think that being online is not being a musician, and it's like they're kind of like stuck in their way. And then the problem that I see a lot is they're like, there's no money to make music. There's no way that you can do this, that you can sell stuff. I'm just like, well, have you tried posting stuff? And they're just like, no. I have good music, so that's enough. And you're just like, no,
it really
isn't how it works.
It's, and I'll fully admit, like when we first started promoting Mark of the Wolf, I had my doubts, because we hadn't released anything in like 3 years, and I'm someone who, as I said, I got into doing social media just out of necessity, because I originally didn't really want to do that. I didn't really like, I found now that I'm really enjoying it, like talking to people and doing the live streams and all that stuff. But at first I had my doubts. I was literally like, oh, we haven't released anything in 3 years. No one's gonna, that's 3 years is like an eternity in music industry time. No one's gonna remember us, or blah, 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 blah. We're not gonna sell very many albums. But through doing what I saw you and everyone else I know doing, just kind of taking the things that I saw and kind of mishmashing them into what we did, and yeah, we did a lot better than I was expecting. So I find that no matter how small of a band you are, if you promote to the right people will dig it, and people will appreciate your art that way.
Another question for you, now that you have like all this knowledge about like what's the difference with like playing live and like doing like all the social media thing, next album, what would be your plan? Like if shows are like open, would you still be doing a lot of social media, or would you just go back to like doing live shows only?
Both, because I found that the social media thing has helped so much that I'd find that I find like to get the maximum results, it'll be a combination of both, because it'd be like the personal aspect of the live shows, and the aspect of reaching a wider amount of people with social media, because we actually wrote not a whole album, but we wrote a new release, like an EP or something, during the quarantine, and we're gonna hopefully go to the studio to record it by the end of the year, and it's gonna be like the recording debut of the new lineup, pretty much. And we're kind of doing it to not only to get this music out that we're really proud of, and it's very different to what we usually did on Mark of the Wolf, but also just to try out things that we didn't get to do with Mark of the Wolf, stuff that I kind of learned, but I'm like, well, crap, it's kind of too late to do that. You know what I mean? So it's just a way to kind of try and reach a wider audience, because our main goal for the second album, because the second album is also like halfway written, so our main goal for the second album is to get on a bigger label, like than the one we were on now, not Nuclear Blast big, but like maybe like a mid-tier label, like a AFM or M Theory Audio, or Cruz del Sur or No Remorse or something like that. That's kind of our goal. So we're kind of using the next release not only to put out this music that we're very proud of, but also to kind of test the waters with all the stuff that I learned promoting Mark of the Wolf too.
Just as an aside, James, one thing that you should be really focusing on if you're looking for the next label, like next level, like just to start going insane about, is the sales. Just always keep driving the sales like as best as you possibly can, because if you get a label will always be interested in a band that can sell. Just like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And then one other quick question I had before Gaia takes back over is, so. How do I want to phrase this here? How do you think you did? What do you think you did differently this time in terms of promoting the release that you didn't do last time, other than hiring a publicist? Obviously.
I was about to say, I was like, we hired a PR person because.
Well, other than that, because you did your own, right? Like you did the live streams, you did all this other stuff. Like you did a lot of stuff on your own. Like I would say you probably did a lot more than most bands do PR wise for this release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's just because I found that with it was just because it was what I learned from people, because on the previous EP, as you know, we didn't hire a PR or anything, and I just kind of tried to do, because again, I was a lot younger, even though I'm still very young. I was a lot younger than I was now, and I didn't know anything. So it was just one of the main things was just trying to find different ways to get people to know who we are, because one thing that that's why like I tried to do lots of extensive research, not only into what you're supposed to do like to promote an album, but just seeing what my peers were doing and kind of just just taking all the things from that and kind of implementing it into our for our PR campaign, because I'm someone that I need to, like, I have this problem where I never, when it comes to like promoting yourself, I never think I've done enough. Like, even if I've done a lot, I'm like, no, I have to do more. I have to do more. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it is. So yeah, so it's definitely been a lot different. It's been a lot more stressful. It's been like, after the album came out, I didn't realize just how exhausted I was. So like I remember we did the final we did the live stream on our release day, and we just had a bunch of our friends on, and yes, and Gaia came on for 2 minutes because she forgot about it.
I was there the whole time waiting for Gaia to go up, and she didn't. Then I left right before she showed up.
Yeah, and when she did, she was in a restaurant.
Yeah, I am so sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My brain just like went like, oh, it's beautiful outside. Let's just go outside. I just forgot.
It was fun. It was a really good time too. And but like as I was saying, after we did the last live stream, for like a whole week after that, I literally just slept, because I just didn't realize how actually exhausted I was from this whole experience. Like, I loved it, but at the same time, I didn't realize how mentally taxing it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So how much of everything of PR did you learn from Gaia, just out of curiosity? Because I know you've watched a lot of stuff that she's done. I know you did the live streams based off of her. So how much did Gaia actually teach you on PR, even if she doesn't realize how much she taught you?
Quite a lot, actually. Like there was the live streams, there was the bundles thing. She's the one who introduced me to using MailerLite, which I really need to use it more, because here's the thing, Gaia. MailerLite's great, but my God, designing those the actual mailing list, like actually the actual design part of it is so, to me, it's kind of a pain in the ass, because it's like, there's so many things to choose from. I'm like, okay, what do I put? And then I'm sitting there for an hour trying to figure out what to put. But
I can give you a tip for that. I usually have like the main design, and I just like add some blocks. That's it.
Oh, so you like save one and then kind
You
of just
save
add or
one.
take stuff away. Okay.
Exactly. And I feel like it makes your you pick the colors that really fit with your brands. You put like your logo and stuff, and it's this is you. Like it like
Yes.
really represent, and it's like it's better when it looks kind of the same-ish.
Yeah. See,
Because there's like more coherence.
yeah. See, I made the mistake of always doing them from scratch. So yeah, I know. It sucks. But yeah, no, but like yeah, like as I said, all those things, and there's probably a few other things I'm forgetting at the moment. But yeah, no, she's been a really great help for helping us out, because one thing I've even talked to her about, I think this is even before I even met you and Corey, Curtis, was I used to go to her for like advice, because the first few months of the pandemic was tough because I didn't post to social media at all, because I was just in such a shitty state mentally that when I decided, okay, I have to really start doing this again, I'm like, okay, how do I start? And then that's when I went to you, because that's around when you were around when you were doing your album campaign, and I saw how well you were doing, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I should ask her, and yeah, it's helped a lot.
I'm always happy to help.
Mama Gaia. So, Mama Gaia, what do we got next for Mr. Delbridge? I mean, Baby James.
Okay. Well, I don't have any more questions. I don't know if you do.
I do. I could have a one or two more if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I have funny question after. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, all right. So this is where we pump up Gaia for a second here. So what's the biggest lesson you've learned from Gaia in terms of PR? Because she does a lot of help with us at C Squared. She's very good with her bands, and I'm just curious, what is one piece of advice that she has given you in terms of PR and marketing that you have felt has been the most impactful?
Well, I could say, like, again, I could say the live streams, because even though I completely stole that from her, which she stole from you. But yeah, no, but I think it was just, but I think to what you can dissect from that is sort of like just, you know, don't be afraid to reach out and to make friend, try your best to make friends with people and all that. And yeah, because that's pretty much what the whole point of those things are. It's supposed to be like, in terms of PR and marketing, it's like killing two birds with one stone, because you get to meet and talk to lots of cool people, some of which, at least, and I don't know if I can speak for you, but I can definitely speak for myself on this, where you get to meet lots of cool people, some of which are like some of your heroes who you never thought you would meet. And also because it's a great way to gain followers and gain new fans, because as I mentioned earlier, there's lots of people who, especially with a lot of the bigger names that I got, there's lots of people who they said, hey, this guy who's talking with, let's say like Adrian from Seven Spires, this guy's pretty cool. Let's go check out his stuff. And we've gotten new followers, new fans, new sales from that. So, and even then, even through that, I've even gotten to become friends and colleagues with some people who I never even would have dreamed of. Like, for my main example, I could say is, I don't know if Guy, if you know who this is. Well, actually, no, you do know, because you freaking saw her. Leather Leon. Remember on our, when you came in for 2 minutes?
Yeah, she was funny.
The chick with black hair. Yeah. So she is, she's the old singer from a band called Chastain. And I've been following them since I was in high school, and she was one of the original, like, quote unquote metal chicks, you know. They were really, they started in like the early 80s, and I've listened to them for years. And again, I asked her to be on the show because she showed up in one of my other streams, like in the comments. And so I asked her, and we had such a good time on the stream that we like talk on like a pretty regular basis now. And she, like, I always try and kind of learn from her and all that. And I will even say, like, it's really surreal to be like sort of very friendly with someone who you've you've looked up to since you were a lot younger, you know, because she's a killer singer. Like she'll tell you this is bullshit if you say this to her, but I still think this is that she's like the female Dio, you know, that's what she is. So yeah.
Okay, so you got the best piece of advice from Gaia. So now, out of anybody, so you can pick one guest on the Wolfpack live stream. Who's it going to be and why? Anybody on your wish? Anybody?
Freddie Mercury? I kid. Hansi from Blind Guardian, easily, because he's someone who, and he's also the person I would say, like, because I've had a few people ask questions in interviews like, oh, if you could work with one person, who would it be? It's always Hansi, because he's someone who, not only is he like one of my top 3 like favorite singers of all time, but also he's someone who, from the people who I know who have met him, he's someone that he doesn't, he's the most like least rock star attitude rock star you can think of, because the guy, no matter how, obviously Blind Guardian's one of the biggest metal bands, they've headlined Wacken, stuff like that, but he always has a reputation for helping the little guys, you know what I mean? Like he always he's like done guest vocals on many bands' albums, you know, he's done lots of, he's someone who seems like, I even heard people tell, I don't know how true this is, but I've even heard tell me that he like refuses pay or something like that. I don't know how true that is, but it's just because he seems like he's someone who's at the point in his career where, and I could say the same thing about Leather too, where they're at the point in their career where it seems like they're at the point where they give back. They want to give back. They're like, we've done everything, you know, we've done everything we wanted to do. So yeah, so I'd say Hansi for sure.
Cool. I think I'm out of questions, Gaia.
Okay, awesome. So it's a question for you, James. So these are the final questions. First, when is my appointment with your mom to do my hair?
Anytime.
Second question, and I've already asked you that before, but this is the first time that I can actually do it during a podcast. So what is your favorite dinosaur?
Ooh, that's tough. See, knowing me, I'd probably say like a marine dinosaur. I'd probably say, I don't know if this counts, but I'd probably say the Tylosaur. It's like like a giant crocodile in the ocean. It's like imagine a shark kind of body with a crocodile head, and it's the size of a whale. Like this thing was like it was like the apex predator of the time, and it's called a Tylosaur. Look it up. That's my favorite dinosaur. If I had to pick.
You have the best answer so far.
Yeah, I find it hilarious when people, because whenever someone asks anything about dinosaurs, one of the things I grew up with was I had a DVD of like a National Geographic special, and it was called Sea Monsters, and it was like a National Geographic special where they talked about a lot of the big they talked about a lot of the marine predators from the time of the dinosaurs, and I always found those way more fascinating than the land dinosaurs, honestly. So Tylosaur, easy. Actually, you know what? But you know what? Actually, if you guys don't know what that is,
I just looked.
Oh, you did? Okay, because I was gonna say, have you either of you seen Jurassic World by any chance?
No.
You know, it's like the reboot of the Jurassic Park, you know, the thing. Okay, well, the Tylosaur is the thing that actually, spoiler if anyone's gonna.
No, don't say, don't spoil.
Okay, I won't. But the Tylosaur is in it. The Tylosaur is in that film. So yeah.
Awesome.
I just read an article to Gaia so she can look at it once we're off the call.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. So James, do you have any final words about anything before we end off?
Yeah, well, I'll say live streams are starting up again on our page on Friday. They were supposed to start yesterday, but something came up and it didn't happen. But so Friday, we're going to be talking to Marius Danielson from Legend of Valley Doom. And speaking of, I'll announce it here first before I do it on the page, because why not? Next week, I'm getting to talk to another one of my heroes, because I'm talking to Mr. Toman the Omen Stotch, the old
Nice.
Blind Guardian drummer,
Nice.
on our show too. And go check out Mark of the Wolf if you haven't, on Spotify, Bandcamp, YouTube, all that good all those places. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and
Awesome. And buy the CD. If you ask him to sign it, he will sign it.
Yes.
From James Delbridge, we have to ask him to sign it from Baby James Delbridge. Other than that, if you don't have a CD player, you can buy it on Bandcamp. Also, he has bundles, really cool looking bundles with shirts. And what is the address for that?
Is Lycanthro merch at lycanthromerch.bigcartel.com.
Cool. And then what is your Instagram handle, James? Your Lycanthro Instagram handle?
It is lycanthro_metal.
Cool. And then what is your Twitter handle? And then we're gonna end off.
It is lycanthro metal.
Okay, cool. All right, that's all we got today. Thank you for coming on. And with that, we are done.